These guys were shit talking my plans for the campaign right before we went audio live. But hi everybody.
We didn't learn our lesson last session.
How many fucking times?
No, not at all.
This whole prologue was to like remind you guys that this place is a shithole. How much more of a reminder do you all need?
We know it sucks. We've been here for like 10 sessions.
Now be hopeful, and all this shit. Anyways, hi, it's Sif again with the same players as before. We'll do introductions in a bit, but yeah, it's another session of Strahd. As always, sessions are recorded every other Monday. Any comments would be great. I actually started seeing a few in the other VODs, and like that makes my brain really warm and happy. So feel free to leave random shit. Can be anything as long as it's positive, but yeah. Anyways, you know me, Sif. I do that thing on Twitch, but you know, if you're here for the VODs, that's great. Just stay invested. I like to be invested in the gay RP. That shit's great. Now for the players, starting us off, I word good. Starting us off, Obsidia.
Hello, I'm Cydia. I play Lady Ravenna Dunaray, the lovable sorceress. I just posted on my YouTube the fourth and final of the character origin sessions for my upcoming D&D campaign, Nexus Forlorn Legacy, which is allegedly going to have its first session next Monday. What? But yeah, you should go check it out. It was actually with the lovable DM of this campaign was the most recent origin, and it's 3.5 hours of lovely lore and world building and setting up the disasters that this poor little shonen protagonist girl is eventually going to meet.
I was girl.
That is all.
Yeah, please do check out Nexus. I am we're all kind of incredibly invested into it. So if you guys can go to the opposite channel and just like, you know, support and subscribe and give her money and be engaged with the gay RP, most importantly, that'd be great.
If you're also while you're at it on Twitch, you should give Sif money for being amazing.
Yeah.
And being a good DM.
Guys, why are you promoting this weird ass fucking streamer?
Every dollar you send Sif goes towards us getting companions that aren't Aaron.
They're real! They're free! Oh my god. Alright, Lily, you're up next.
Hello, I am not Aaron. I'm sorry.
If you all do this, if you all have a fucking Spartacus moment, I swear to God.
No,
I'm Brian.
I'm Brian, and so is my wife. My name is Lily. I am playing the ever traumatized Callan, and looking forward to seeing what the heck happens this session. It's going to be a lot of good RP. Very excited. Regarding myself, I'm just a weird little queer girl on the internet, so follow me if you like some art. Sometimes I drew Callan, actually a bunch this last week. And just generally been really enjoying drawing D&D OCs. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, go look at her art. She's like, I've expressed this before with like other artists I follow, but like Lily is like one of the artists you want to follow if you want to see rapid improvement over a period of time. That shit just prints serotonin. Like, God, that Callan piece was so fucking good, right, Obs?
Yeah, it was great.
It's fucking good. All right.
Our girl's growing up.
Mm-hmm. She glowing. All right, Yulia, you were up, bestie.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am Yulia. I go by Royal Knight VT on both Twitch and Twitter. I am also not Aaron, and I did play Warrick, who's the half-orc paladin.
Just stop putting it like that. I would trade 1,000 errands for you.
Too bad you only have one.
Yeah, I'm a variety streamer. I stream sometimes. Lots of fantasy-based RPG goodness. And I play D&D with all these wonderful individuals here. So always excited to be here and be queer.
She is very queer. Also, Bestie, it's still your birthday month, right?
Yeah, Saturday is my birthday.
Damn, that's crazy. It's
Happy
her.
birthday!
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, dearest Julia.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, regardless of when you're watching this, it is her birthday month, and her birthday will always be the following Saturday after you watch this. That's crazy. You should, like, go to her throne, get her a fig, and some, like, really weird Japanese snacks I'm learning about. Okay. Alright, finally, last but certainly not least, because he's so fucking jacked, Big Man Maris.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maris. I'm also not Aaron, and I play Jericho, the Oath of Vengeance paladin, everyone's sad dad, Catholic guilt vampire hunter. I also stream. You can find me as Maris Oram on Twitch and Twitter. I do storytime streams. We talk literature, we talk books, we talk media. It's a great intellectual power hour. But in the meantime, I'm just here to be sad and be gay. So yeah.
Please do lurk in his streams just to listen in. It's really good comfort, like, stream material. Like, I was lurking in there during the Origin session I was recording with Obs, and that shit was gay. I'm joking. I'm joking and not joking. Anyways, yeah, please go listen in.
You did lurk in my stream, and I promptly kicked you out, so...
I had to say hi! But yeah, I fucking... Me doing that during recording should tell you how fucking good Maris is as a story time reader. But yeah. Finally, one more thing before we get started with today. I haven't updated his token, but I did update Zod's art so he looks less like just Zod from Berserk and more like the other design notes I had. So now he's got like more of a snout going on, he's got more horns coming out, little bits of like horns and like other scales popping out of parts of his body, etc. I mainly just really wanted to stress that this looks like you like took a flesh suit and wrapped it around a dog. Like,
It's goated. It's so goated.
I need everyone to understand this guy's a fucking freak. He does not look right, and I want that to be known. I also couldn't really show him the design, I think I forgot to note it, but like, his arms are long, like just disproportionately long, like a bugbear.
And he's a coffee connoisseur.
Yeah. It's very important in the fucking... It's very important at night. Smile. Alright. Who wants to recap last session? Who wants to share the brutal ending of last session? I think is the important thing.
I think the dead player should.
Oh, goodness.
Oh my god, you killed Warrick, you bastard!
So, yes, a lot of fighting went on. We were doing pretty good for the most part. It ended up in the tomb area where we saw the sun stored and a bunch of other artifacts, and we were going to take them, but then got ambushed by a bunch of dusk elves, which we later found out. So we had gone to try to follow after them. However, poor Warrick was knocked down to 0 HP during that time, and while we were trying to confront them, Strahd ended up showing up and basically taunting the players, bringing up a lot of their past and trying to get under their skin, all the while hurting Warrick in the process so that his death saves were racking up, and eventually took, or I guess convinced, if not egged on Jericho to... I guess Jericho was trying to sacrifice himself, but it kind of turned on him, where he ended up giving Warrick the last death fail, and so now Warrick is dead. But Zod and some other of Strahd's lackeys has now shown up, and Zod is planning on speaking to Warrick in his dead state. And that's where we left off.
That is right, perfect. And that other guy down here is Rahadin, the Dusk Elf Vizier serving under Strahd.
Cronies.
Yeah, he's one of his cronies. I guess you could say that.
He's definitely a crony.
I-
A lackey, if you will.
I don't know. That
Is he Strahd's bitch? Yes.
that Piddlewick over
I want to
there.
also bring one more memory up, as hard as it may be.
Mhm.
But Piddlewick was
Oh.
killed as well.
Oh,
man,
poor
why-
Piddlewick.
Why couldn't it have been Aaron? Why couldn't it have been Aaron?
Thank
Oh,
you.
Piddlewick.
Thank you for reminding me, Lily. I updated Piddlewick's art, but I forgot to update his token, so I'm just showing that off to the audience right now. Also,
we love Piddlewick,
Oh, yeah.
hee-ho.
Eho. Well, there's like a billion
Sad
of them.
he-hoing.
You'll find a new one.
But this one was ours.
Oh wait,
This
I was
one helped us
gonna
out so much.
say something that I forgot. Shit. Oh well, if it's important, I'll come back later. But yeah, we are back to where we were in last session with Zod hunkering over Warwick's corpse. I believe also like Jericho was kneeling on the ground, and the rest, like Aaron's unconscious right now, and Callan and Ravenna, you guys were pinned to the wall by things like candelabras and pieces of furniture, but now that Strahd has like moved away and given his like middle finger of like saying goodbye, the furniture begins to come down slightly, so you aren't physically oppressed, but Rahadin's spear of being creepy, you're all in it.
Is very much staring at us.
Yeah, he's
Being
very
a
much
fucking weirdo.
hand
I think-
on the cane, shooting you the look of like, y'all better just watch and not
I think-
do a thing.
Callan would kind of probably just drop to her knees and just kind of 40-yard stare into the ground, not even like really thinking about it.
Yeah, Venya is just kind of like slumped against the wall looking at Warwick's lifeless body.
Zod begins into the ground, and I think last time I had you guys do an Arcana check to tell what spell he was going to cast with that object, with a coin he pulled out.
It was Speak with Dead.
Yes, speak
Correct.
with the dead. He starts fuddling with the coin. Rahadin, how do I, you flick it three times. Flick it 3 times. I told you this on the way here, and when I gave it to you, you flick it 3 times. And Zod's just nodding along like a 5-year-old child. Takes the coin, and it's like really awkward between his 2 giant fingers, like another big finger coming up. And he's like trying very hard not to flick it so hard it just turns into a bullet. And he flicks it once, you hear 1 ting, then twice, a second ting, and finally a 3rd ting is run. And as this one has been rung, the sound permeates throughout the room as the lights all go out. They lit up when Strahd showed up. The moonlight that accompanies you all in this hallway begins to glow blue. And with that, I'm going to cut to Warwick's perspective. Warwick, you died, so you get a little bit of a sneak glimpse into the afterlife in Barovia. Normally, when one dies in the other planes, they, depending on their worship, they end up in the hands of divinity. Wherever their gods or goddesses or whoever owns their soul takes them. But there's no gods in Barovia. There is no, like, funnel out. As you all know, the souls stay and are looped in this endless cycle of rebirth and torture and torment, and Warwick, you get a front seat look at it as you yourself are about to be pulled in. You remember in Hercules, that like little pool of swirling souls that try to pulls Hercules down as he walks in? It's that, as you see the same ocean of souls that Callan saw in her dream, of various other tormented, withered corpses grasping upon you, clawing into your being, pulling you into the purple void of Barovia. You can feel it. Their endless agony awaiting you. You will be pulled into this cycle of rebirth and death to be a plaything in the hands of an immortal. And as that initially sinks in, your soul is shunted out of that void. You feel yourself flying, and you pop out of your body as this ethereal blue form. In front of you, in this sort of like thermal vision, you can make out the souls and spirits of, first notably, the beast in front of you. This abomination of sorts with different animalistic tendrils flowing out. You see this blob of just this chimera, this shadow of a chimera in front of you, holding a glowing coin with a chain tethered to your soul. Looking just barely past him to your left, you see, I'll put it on the map, you see a black hole with various hands trying to reach out of it but being pulled back in. Over him, behind him, you see an old withered soul that has been around for way, way too long. That's tired and just anxious and just... It feels like it's going to dry up any second. Like it's actively trying to run out the clock. Behind it, you see a piece of someone. Half a butterfly. Her wings her wings slowly ebbing away into the void. And behind her, you see what you could only describe as the pure primordial form of water. But this water is tainted. It feels as though when you look at a waterfall coming down, you see the rocks jutting out. The rocks here look unnatural, as if placed in certain ways for the water to flow in a predetermined pattern. There's no soul in the shadow behind that. And then further back, you see a singular soul with a sort of second light growing out of it like a tumor. And as you take all this in, your attention immediately goes back to the coin as the chimera holding it opens its mouth. This is the first question of Speak with Dead. Let me just open up the D&D Speak with Dead. I went over it when I wrote these questions out, but I really do want to make sure I'm not like fucking up this spell. Okay. The rest of you see Zod's mouth open in as gentle a manner as you've ever seen. You know how like a lion or a cat even, or a tiger picks up its young by biting into its neck? It's that same kind of care that Zod's acting with right now. As if at any moment he could bite and chew into Warrick's very soul. The first question comes out. Are you a purely good person?
And the others can hear this, right?
I will say, given the nature of this spell, your answer is your own. You can be as loud, as quiet, as cryptic, or as direct as you want. You are the soul. You can also register whose soul is whose. So you know those weird souls back there are your allies, the one in front of you freaking you out is Zod, and the one over there is Rahadin. Whether or not you view him as hostile is entirely up to you. And whether or not you're truthful is also up to you, technically,
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Then I think he'll have the first question just directed at Zod.
Okay.
He'll hesitate for a moment, almost feeling really uncomfortable in this almost literal out-of-body experience. But eventually, he'll drop his gaze and shake his head. No, but I want to be. I want to be. I want to be.
The rest of you see Zod grimace with a frown. And then he sits there and thinks. He's like staring at the coin at Warrick. Rahadin has to remind him that spell isn't forever. You have to come up with questions now. And Zod, after thinking it over, goes, "Where does your power come from?"
Power. I don't know.
I'll just ask if you. I think you usually clarify for each answer if you're going to be loud enough or
Sure.
quiet enough. Sorry.
I think at this point, the more passionate he's becoming, the more louder he gets.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
I think from now on he'll address everyone. Yeah. Okay. But he'll be like, I think it was because of him, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I just had to put the new track in. Okay. Time for this. His frown is still on his face, but Zod is... He already knows which question he's going to ask next. Just off your answer. What drives you?
Strength. I want to be stronger. I want to be stronger than them. I want to be stronger for all of them.
Zod's nodding his head along. Now, there's no frown, no disappointment, just a look of respect from one warrior to another. His next and fourth question is, would you do anything to come back?
I'd do anything. There's still so much I want to do. There's still so much I have left to say.
Finally, the fifth question, and before he asks this, he takes a look behind and looks at all of you. And off of that, I want an insight check from everyone into this distorted cacophony of emotions that come across Zod's face. Okay, let me see these numbers. 13. Okay.
That checks out. 7.
All right, those two were
Yeah,
checked
yeah.
out.
Not a personable, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. The only one who actually was like empathetic is kind of the Ravenna after 13. I will say it's really hard to initially parse his emotions. It's sort of like if a deer tried to emulate human facial expressions, but you catch one tinge of nostalgia dash across Zod's left eye before he turns back to Warrick. Deep down, deep down, do you feel pure rage and hatred?
This one takes a bit longer to respond than the others. But when it does, it's solid, it's immediate, it's matter of fact, and all he says is yes.
Zod's shoulders slunk for a second. Rahadin, make sure they don't see this. Rahadin just shrugs. He's very much like outside the operating room on this. And you see Zod reach into his satchel and pull out a jar. At this point, Rahadin kind of realizes what the fuck is actually going on and starts to use his own little magics to start moving paintings in the way of your line of sight. If any of you guys want to catch a glimpse of what Zod is about to do, Please roll perception.
Let's
Oh, yes.
perceive.
Oh yes, please let me perceive. I may perceive.
Whoa!
Oh my god!
Callan sees all.
Natural 20 for a total of 26. I imagine like as soon as like she starts to like realize like kind of like that there's questions leading things, she immediately breaks out of her like weird slump and is paying vivid attention.
All right, I'll play that. All right, so Ravenna and even Jericho especially, this is surprising because of how close you are. You both get a glimpse of the bottle, and you see something moving inside of it. Jericho, you get more like a little bit more detail. You see like a beak sort of like go through it, like an octopus beak, before being swallowed back in to the goo. But then the paintings line up first from the bottom, because that's like you guys are all kneeling around, and it's like, all right, I gotta take care of this first. You hear the shattering of glass, and you see, well, actually not all of you, this is just Callan at this point. Callan just sees Zod's arm raise up, and you see that black mass that was in the jar squirming in his hand, trying to like sort of like engorge his hand. You see tendrils whipping out wildly, and then you hear this disgusting squelch followed by a screech as this loud impact hits the floor. You hear it. You hear this digging sound over and over, this scraping. You see blood pooling at Zod's body. And then as he stands up, Callan, you alone get a glimpse of this. You see across Warrick's chest there is a bulge, and it's almost translucent through his skin. It's sort of like the shape of a nautilus shell. But as you blink, it is gone. Zod looks down and turns back to Rahad and says, "It is done." Rahad looks like really fucking surprised right now at what Zod just did, and will just approach him. You did something really stupid. You're aware of that, right? Zod nods along. I have summoned several Piddlewicks to come and collect their friend. If he is to survive the night, he'll need around-the-clock care after what you just did. It is at this point that, upon hearing what Rahadin just said, you notice that Warrick's body catches a breath. A singular, long breath. And there's a very long pause before the second one.
What have you done?
Before letting Zod answer, Rahadin taps his cane on the floor and says, "Our master warned you that there are fates worse than death in these lands, and promised you that, or made the promise that, if you signed his chaos, he'd made sure that, well, that you wouldn't die like this, at the very least, before you were ready to face him. I don't know what's going to happen to him, but, well, hopefully come in the morrow, you'll see for yourselves. Several Piddlewicks will be here in a bit, and I do not want to be around such company. Zod, since you started this mess, escort them back to their room as well, in case there are any other interlopers in the castle. I believe I will retire early for a, long due rest."
You'll return him to our room, right?
Yes, the Piddlewicks will take care of that, don't you worry. And as he says that, a little small army of Piddlewicks come into the...
How long? How long will it take?
Oh, they're going with you.
Oh no, I'm talking about Warrick. If Warrick will be brought back to the room.
Warrick is going with you. Like, the Piddlewicks are
Okay.
coming in with a stretcher, and they'll probably just be in in his room. You guys all have separate rooms, and they'll just be in his room giving around the clock care. You actually see a few Piddlewicks dressed in, like, a very cute attire with with like like doctors and nurses gear with like a red cross on a green background. I'm very well aware of the Geneva Conventions. I do not wish my game to be taken away from me, but yeah, the Piddlewicks will start slowly, very like it's very difficult for them to lift up Warwick's body, but they're moving him to a stretcher. Yeah, and they'll start picking him up, and then Zod will look all at you. And even he is unsure of what's gonna happen. Both him and Rahadin have this very unsure look of, like, what'll happen to Warwick in the morning. Regardless, I believe you will all be more comfortable once I leave, so I will begin leaving post-haste. And, kind of just stares at the Piddlewick, and more specifically, actually, yeah, you guys can roll me an insight check if you want to, if you care at all about what he's focusing on the fucking Piddlewick. 16.
Yep.
All right.
We are all hyper aware right now, so I can at least.
Goddamn. I get to info dump on
17.
my players. Alright, all three of you can figure out that Rahadin is staring specifically where the initial dagger was thrown, square into the symbol that was on the Piddlewick's forehead. The same symbol that Rahadin had, the same symbol that the other Dusk Elves who came that night had. And then he begins pacing down the hallway. Zod will look at all of you and say, I will give you all a moment to collect your bearings, and then we'll head back to your room.
Ravenya's gonna walk over to Warwick's body being parted off and just like put a hand on it and just say like, you can do this, Warwick. We believe in you. You're too strong for it to end this way.
Just to be clear, he is being carted with you guys. The Piddlewicks are... Oh, sorry, you said carting your way. My bad.
I didn't know if you were trying to bail him out now or if he was going to linger with us, but I will just kind of touch him and stuff and just say that and feel like, I hope the gods see you back from this.
I think Callan would sort of bring up the rear of this, just kind of observing and making sure if any like changes happen to the plan that she is able to see and rectify it. So she'll just be kind of holding up the back. But is overall not really speaking very much right now.
Jericho, is there anything you'd like to do?
I think he's staring daggers at Zod, and as the group walks with him, he's contemplating a good place to stick a knife.
Are you trying to hide this feeling from Zod in any way, shape, or form?
No.
Zod looks at you. I can smell it. Your bloodthirst. Are you that angry at what I did?
That's yet to be determined.
How about this? Stick a knife in me, and come the morrow, if Warwick doesn't wake up in a manner that you all like, whatever limb you stick that knife into, I won't get to use when we fight. But, if you're happy, and Warwick is back, I get to interfere in one way, like my master will.
I don't want your pity, monster. When we kill you, it will be on equal terms.
You have a funny idea of that word. With that, the silence resumes as you all continue making your way through the manor. Aaron, who was being carried by Piddlewicks too, kind of wakes up at this point in like a stupor and looks at all of you and realizes Warrick is also being carried by a Piddlewick. Guys, what happened? He's like trying to get up, but the Piddlewicks are sort of like shaking the stretcher in a way to like, please don't move. We've got this. We don't want you falling out. Guys?
I'm very far, so I think one of you needs to take this.
I mean, y'all could also just not respond to him, and he's just gonna have to, like, draw his interpretations and go, shit. Alright.
It's alright. We're here.
Alright. Okay. Aaron just sort of, like, turns away from you while in his cot, or in his stretcher. Continue to make your way down. Not uneventfully, as there are still interlopers throughout the castle, but every time you roll initiative, Zod lets out this battle cry. And some get away, and some are now decor, painting the walls and floors and ceilings of the castle. You see werewolves, you see fists of Barovia, you see regular interlopers, people dressed as bandits. Any dusk elves you do see have already been killed, more than likely by Strahd himself. The only...
Good.
Yep. The only... Is this... Sorry, I immediately lost track. I am being very forgetful today. I'm sorry, guys. But, you all continue walking down the halls until you finally return to your suite, where, at this point, all of the damage and mess caused by... All the damage and mess caused by the Fists of Barovia have been cleaned up. You see Piddlewicks running around, making sure everything's back in order. And Zod leaves you all at the door. Or, well, he doesn't leave you just yet. He's just standing by the door, waiting for you all to enter.
Go into the rooms.
You all enter the room, like, no, that's it, yep.
I don't know, like,
I don't know,
are we
I'm just
supposed to
saying.
throw down with Zod?
Nah, I was wondering if you guys had any last words for him, but he will have some last words.
Zod, I got no words for that.
I think since Callan is hanging so far back, she is just kind of like, if she had pockets, she'd be kind of basically doing like the Yakuza walk. Just like very, very much like...
That's a great mental image.
Just like staring, not daggers, but like just very, very sharply around at everything that's going on as she continues to walk in without saying a single word.
Jericho. If he doesn't come back, I'm sorry. I'm gonna assume you're not gonna respond to that. He's just gonna get up and go.
You're sorry. Sorry that you weren't the one to throttle your new toy? That Strahd got to him first? That kind of sorry?
If he doesn't survive what I did for him, then whatever I could have done to him would not have been as bad. I worded that wrong. Yeah, he's got this look of, if whatever I'm doing to him is going to be so much worse than what I could have done to him in a normal fight, that's why he's sorry.
You think you would have given him a cleaner, more honorable death? Is that it?
I don't expect any of you to understand how important honor is to a warrior.
Jericho will just wrinkle his nose in distaste and just says, "Death is death. Honor has shit to do with it." And he'll walk on.
Sorry about that. My mom's like my door down.
All good.
Zod looks at the direction of Warwick's room one last time and then walks off. The rest of you see Piddlewicks coming out of the secret entrance in the room, carrying in supplies like IV drips and so on and so forth into Warwick's room to give him round-the-clock care for the night. His breathing is really unstable. Some of you even saw that you see black veins pop up now and again. But outside of that, you guys are back in your room for the night.
Ravenna is gonna, pull up a chair outside of Warwick's room and take out her Starburst holy symbol, and she's just gonna pray quietly.
I'm going to disappear for a bit. Not leave, but she'll kind of twirl her hilt a bit. Going to go to my little sanctum.
Disappear.
I'm staying here. And she looks very intently at Jericho. I am staying here. I just think I need some time to think. And this is the place where I feel like I can think best. She'll look over towards Ravenna. Feel free to take your same place as you were last night. I likely won't be joining.
Ravenna will kind of look up at Callan and just do a nod and go, I think I'll stay here for a while, but I appreciate your willingness. It doesn't really seem like a good time to be alone for anyone.
Right. She'll walk into her room, set the hilt on her bedside, and then just a quick note, she'll just like hold down the gems that are inlaid and inside of it. And you probably all hear like just one of those like sounds, and then no more sound come from the room as she enters.
Oh, Callan's just turned the Hoover vacuum on, okay. Real quick before I get to you, Callan, Jericho, did you say what you wanted to be up to while Ravenna prays and while Alan starts her little scene?
I think Jericho, the anger is just bubbling. It's nearing the surface. Like he is a water glass that is so full, a single drop is going to, break that surface tension. So he's he's going to try and find a place of solitude, but like he just is so enraged by his lack of control in this place. So quite literally just gonna kick open the closest door, see the blood on his boots, Warrick's blood, and just slam the door again behind him. And he's gonna also have some solitude.
Alright, so let's do Callan's things first, as she has entered. What specific feat is this, Bestie? Lily?
This is what is known as Bottled Respite. It's a genie warlock feature that essentially allows her to enter in a private sanctum for up to twice her proficiency bonus hours. So this is essentially her most personal space. There is no way to get in, there is no way to get out other than through what she can do, essentially.
Okay. Now that you've entered your little... Well, not necessarily your bottle is the hilt of your weapon, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
The hilt is essentially the gems inside of the hilt are the connection to, like, is basically like part of her magical connection to the elemental primordial energy that the djinn oversees.
You've entered this room. You want to describe what this room looks like to everyone at home?
Sure. I imagine this room much more so than her personal quarters back home on the Citadel is more ornate. It has some like fanciness, like a very comfy couch, very comfy bed, and just overall is very much decorated in a very heavy like blue and gold accent. It looks lavish. Much more so than you probably would expect for someone like Callan. But as she kind of looks around, there is one section of the room that has a bunch of training dummies, as well as a setup of just about every single weapon you could possibly imagine: plasma rifles, pistols, whips, fist weapons, all that good stuff. Everything that she could ever possibly use in a fight. She kind of starts, as she enters, she takes a deep breath and sort of just looks around, and just for the first time in a while feels that sort of like homeliness. Even though this is a space that is not on her home, this is a space where she is herself first and foremost. So this is where also she keeps all of her books. She reads a lot, and there's some like romance novels, there's some like geographical books, there's some reports, and overall on her desk there is just a massive amount of just papers scattered around. But as she takes a look over, she walks over to her desk to see if somehow there's any different report than when she last left it, only to find nothing. But what does catch her eye for a moment is another necklace. This one having a spiraling water symbol on it. She takes a moment, looks at it, holds it up, and like kind of holds it up and looks at it and gives it a tight squeeze before setting it back down. And as she does, she starts to sort of reflect. She thinks on the time that she has spent so far in Barovia and in the carnival, and is just kind of feeling this overwhelming sense of uncertainty. Feeling like most of the party can't trust her. That they assume that she's not good at what she does, even though she feels like she's giving them quite the reason to think otherwise. and sits there for a moment and thinks specifically on Warrick. And as she does and thinks about his initial passing, she does glance back over towards the necklace and just begins to grit her teeth. Just thinking to herself, this is why we don't do names. This is why keep our distance. This is why we are commanders. Because we don't need these things. She continues glancing at the amulet. After all, we're supposed to share the neural load, aren't we? The weight. But there's... Well, it's just me. And as she kind of takes this deep breath, she thinks for a moment. And these sort of intrusive thoughts that have been eating at her continue to just push. And she thinks about Ravenna. Bit of an initial warmth, thinking about the softness that she initially felt last night. The slip that she allowed herself to fall into. And then she remembers seeing energy come off Warrick and enter Ravenna. And she lingers on this for a moment. And shakes her head. She thinks about all the things that she hasn't been able to do since coming to Barovia, contacting the Citadel, fly, call in support. And then the image of draining again. And she kind of just speaks to herself. She wouldn't do this. She wouldn't. But the intrusive thoughts continue, and she goes over to her mirror and begins to disrobe, inspecting herself from head to toe, looking for any sign of penetration point, of spaces where magic could have seeped out. Turns around and looks at her tattoo, the same spiral pattern that is on the amulet. But what she sees continues to be the same scars and muscles that she's always had. There are no penetration points. There are no fang marks. She takes a deep breath. And then thinks, I can't do this alone. And she just takes a second, goes over and sits at the table of her desk, and then begins to attempt to contact the Citadel once more.
You're attempting to
Okay.
contact the Citadel right now?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So are you using any tool for this, by the way, for flavor, or no?
I don't imagine she has anything. If anything, it's just sort of like a part of like the magical energy in her body that links her to other primordial energy.
You try to send out a signal across the weave itself to the Citadel, the same way you've always done it, and no matter what situation you've ever been in, whether you're deep in enemy territory, trapped under rubble, in the deep recesses of space itself in the astral plane, you've always managed to get the Master Jin's attention. But not this time. Same as before. You feel your essence bounce back as if you're trapped in this bubble, unable to break free, unable to make communication. And as you attempt again and again, and as that hopelessness sinks in, you feel a breeze, which is really strange. An unknown feeling inside this little pocket space you have. And you look up to see one of those veils, those curtains quartering off this area. You see it begin to move and wave, almost invitingly, towards you.
She looks up, very confused, but will take the invitation, thinking maybe some Aragonasi is attempting, and this is the sign. So she'll, I guess, grab onto it, or attempt to interact with it,
Yeah, it's
however
like
that may work.
you grab onto it and it begins tugging as if it wants you to part it. And as you part it, you are initially surprised to hear the ragtime kind of music that was known on the Citadel, the same music that played during the Master Jin's speeches, his parades. You hear piano music going off, and you look up into the void, into the distance. You see a silhouette of a figure on a floating piano, and you hear his song. You hear his lyrics. And as a warning, I'm not a singer. I'm not a musician. So if I butcher this, don't be mad at me. Don't be fucking angry at me. The first keys hit. We'll meet again. Don't know where. Don't know when. But I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Keep smiling through, just like I always do, till my blue skies drive the dark clouds far away. So I will say hello to the folks that you know, tell them you won't be long. They'll be happy to know as I saw you go, I was screaming this song. We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. And I'll go ahead and put the next track into the music channel for y'all. As he is singing, this silhouette is coming closer to you, floating down on its piano, and it turns away from the piano while the music still goes, his hands breaking apart to keep playing the keys. And Callan, I cannot describe the shock on your face as you see the Master Jin himself sitting upon the stool by the piano as it lands in front of you. And he looks at you, no mouth, but the flames mimicking eyes across his face squint as if he's shooting you a big smirk. Why, hello there, Callan.
I like to imagine nobody has ever seen the Master Jin's face, like, truthfully. It's always been projections and modifications and such to... Yeah. And so, but there's a part of her, the part of her that is essentially... is essentially like a part of the Master Jin at the same time, like a fragment of him, knows immediately that this is him. And she immediately tries to take a kneel, but in this extra dimensional space is just more than confused and just kind of fumbles and says, Your Excellency, it is... sorry, you go ahead.
Don't be so awkward, Callan. After all, we're in your space, your home, your magic. Anything you want for, you can... He snaps as you sort of like feel the ground beneath you in this void, and you find your grounding. He's just like, anything you wish for can come true here, Callan. Now tell me, how are you? You doing all right? And a few more magically appearing bits of furniture appear as more instruments join the piano behind him.
As an omnipotent being, I believe you know the answer to that question. I find myself, and she immediately starts to enter like a reporting state. I'm just like, I find myself having been kidnapped into Barovia, of which Strahd seems to have made me his prisoner, and I've been attempting to contact the Citadel in order to relay this information so that we may create a coordinated attack to liberate this plane once and for all. After all, I know we have had many different dossiers established as to how we would take the domain when it became available. Well, I have this opportunity.
If I could just stop you, First off, I appreciate the omnipotence comment, but I myself am not the Master Jin, but how do I word this? Yes, do you know what a Boy Scout is?
A Boy Scout?
I really have to make sure that my people get you soldiers the right literature. It's think of it as this: you're out and you're lost and you're unable to contact home. Now, for the average Ganassi soldier of the Citadel, well, they'd be short of luck. They'd be gone, lost forever. But you, Callan, you, my dear Callan, are special. You're one of my elites, and as such, I have to keep a close eye on you. So your magic, as maintained and managed by me as it was, needed a closer eye. Consider me your little scout handbook. I myself normally report to the Master Jin himself. I'm a part of him. I go, I say hi, I tell him how you've been. But, obviously we can't do that. Now, can we, Callan?
Well, that's correct, of course.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I was beginning to lose it. I thought I was unable to send in my report. If I was separated from, well, me, I'd imagine I would be very distressed, now wouldn't I? But don't
Yes, of course.
Up. Don't you worry, Callan, we are going to figure this out, you and me. Now, there's no sense of time between the planes, so who knows how long it'll take to get back. But when we do get back, what are your concerns, your fears? Because we will be getting back.
I apologize to ask for clarity, but do you mean to Barovia or to the Citadel?
The Citadel, of course. Why would I return to this shithole?
No, of course not. I just...
Relax, Callan. This is your safe space. Nothing can happen here. Not even Strahd himself could listen in. Now, tell me. What ails you? What specifically are you concerned with? I know you've made some friends, and I know it's outside of disciplinary code, but I, myself, the Master Jin, will look the other way.
Well, I mean, my goal is to leave. To get out, to resume work. But I suppose my goal would also be to get revenge on Strahd for even bringing me to this shithole. So I would love if we could destroy this whole damn plane. Or maybe destroy isn't the right word. Put under new management.
Ah, there we are. There we are, Callan. You had me worried for a moment. Revenge is a very good motivator for war, but think long term. I mean, we can't make contact with the planes, but Strahd could apparently. Well, the comments he made, well, I mean, they were just... I wouldn't expect it, but it could happen, right? Right? He looks at you with a worried expression.
You've heard everything that's happened here.
I'm always with you, my dear Callan. The same way I was with your partner, Hakan.
Okay.
It's a shame, he was one of my elites as well. I had plans to take you into the upper echelons of the Citadel's hierarchy. It's a shame. Real shame. Regardless, let's do our best to avoid those fears of being called a deserter, right? Now, what we have here, Barovia, is a very, very unique thing, right, Callan? A plane that could move between planes, even planes that normally can't be communed with, like Nexus.
The word deserter rings in her ear. Same as it did when she's heard it from Strahd. And just, she can't help but just kind of say, I'm not a deserter.
You're not. I can vouch for that, but what's nicer than, me, your personal master Jin, vouching for you? A whole plane! Just a thought. I know it might be a little too tough for you. Maybe. You are one of my elites, after all. So far be it from me to, expect what should be expected of you.
There's a thought going through her head of just immense confusion. Like, this being is extraordinarily disconnected from the image, perhaps, that she had, calling her an elite, not a weave seer, and other things. It begins.
That might be because the DM forgot the term. I'm sorry.
You're fine. I still am. I'm gonna roll with this. And it's just. Are you? She basically is like soft worried that this is an intrusive thought too. Are you really here to help?
Why, Callan, this magic you use, the same magic you've used in every expedition you've been sent upon, even greater powers that you have yet to access here in Barovia. Has it ever bothered you why you haven't been able to channel the same cosmic power that I see fit to give to my men, my women, my soldiers back in the Citadel? I am truly here to help you. I promise you that. In this moment, you see him grow to feel larger than life itself, and it really does hit you that while this isn't the Master Jin himself, this is the magic as part of your pact given a sentient form, looking down upon you.
Well then, if I'm unable to reach the Citadel, then of course I want to be as strong as I possibly can, to protect these people, to free these people, and to make it back. I don't seem to be able to access the same powers that I did before.
They'll come with time, my dear Callan. As you can see, I myself am a little perturbed by what's happened, unable to, do the normal protocol of getting permission to give you strength. I take it with time you'll naturally get stronger. Our bond will grow, etc., etc. Cheesy speech here, little flair there. You seem off-put. Is something about this appearance bothering me? Would you perhaps prefer the traditional way I look to the rest of the Citadel?
No, it's not necessary. It has been a damn long day, just to get one thing straight, as you seem to know. But I suppose it does help. You think I've made mistakes, don't you?
Mistakes? Callan. This operation is still happening. You have not died.
Well, no, of course not, but letting myself get close to the others.
Now, in what way is that a mistake? I see good member of my army doing, working their charms to ensure longevity. Asset management, yes, asset management. It's far better that, it's a shame that that chap seemed quite useful, but, well, you are what matters. If you go away, I go kapf. Even worse than being trapped in a bottle for all eternity, But yes, speaking of management and risk assessment, what is the first thing that a soldier should do when in unfamiliar lands?
Survey,
yes. I mean, you have been doing plenty of that, but as much as I can see and hear and, well, know, I don't know what goes on in that little noggin of yours, so why don't you tell me? And he sort of, conjures up a whiteboard, or, the sci-fi equivalent of whiteboard.
Smartboard.
Smartboard. Oh, yeah, the fucking public school smartboards. He's got, the stylus marker. And, there's, little PNGs of Ravenna and Warrick and Jericho, Aaron. I have Strahd and the others here, but we can assume that they're mostly threats. Strahd, threat, obviously. Zod, threat, obviously. But, these three. Your thoughts. Will they be useful in your coming campaign?
Of course. Of course they will.
Okay, let's get a little more in-depth here. This one taps on Warrick. Do you think he'll live?
She hesitates for a moment. Yes, I do.
Great, so we need to find out our best way to make use of whatever form he'll be in after, right? He's strong, he's tough, he could serve as a good frontliner. Your thoughts?
He seems to follow orders extremely well.
Ah, yes, the barking. I quite enjoyed that, It's not often I get to really enjoy what's happening outside. It's usually all orders and discipline, but I enjoyed this. Alright then. Nice and simple man, nice and simple presentation. Moving on, and slides over to Jericho. I'm not sure what to think on this one.
He is immensely damaged. But he also holds a drive that I think is unequaled in the rest of the party.
Seems cool.
A kind of drive that could easily be manifested and pointed in the right direction. In fact, I'm sure he is pointed in the right direction, but just with extra nudges could be even more efficient than he currently is.
He does seem quite ready to go. I mean, the way he stared at that Zod fella, doesn't even think twice about throwing his life down. That's quite a useful tool. Now, moving on. Yes, her, he says, looking at Ravenna. I'll wait for you to tell me what you think on her first.
There is much more, for the first two, it was snap, immediate. She has these thoughts categorized in her head, and she updates her little mental, post-it notes on each of them every single encounter. I'm not sure. She is undoubtedly powerful and extraordinarily capable when it comes to the arcane. However, she was the last one to gain or to step above civilian for me. She needed attention. She needed care. She needed encouragement. Though, with all of this, there is no denying her capabilities on the battlefield in controlling it, and well, her use of magic is about as immense as I've ever seen. She seems to be able to manipulate the weave much more efficiently than perhaps any other caster I've ever seen.
Some of your siblings would be hurt to hear that, you know that, right?
I do. But, well, you know, we all know. Some magic users are able to manipulate the weave in order to modify spells. She can do it every single spell she casts. I have never seen that before. The magical capabilities that are hidden inside her are innumerable.
Now, you know as well as I do, even my potentially infinite fount of magic is potentially finite. No one can keep their foot on the gas the whole day. You know something. Same thing I know. But I want to hear you say it. What do you think about her ability to keep going and going and going?
I'm worried it's at the cost of others.
Are you worried that she's taken some from you?
There's no point in hiding it, yes. You likely saw me doing what I was doing before.
Yes, I see everything you do. And I felt something happen. When every time you cast a spell near her, I felt something strange and unusual. Something akin to when I returned to the Master Jinims myself. This whole being a separate body but being the same person thing is weird. But regardless, that is something you need to find out, and something we need to talk about right now, and he goes back to the side with all three of the party members on it. You assess them well, you assess their usability. I appreciate that pragmatism, but there's one thing we need to acknowledge here. They're all, well, except this one, he looks at Aaron and quickly slides off that slide. They're all threats. That same ire Jericho had towards Strahd, towards Zod, everyone that you've met, could you deal with that ire? That unreasonable passion? Could you?
Could I handle it?
No logic, no words, just pure emotion?
Naturally, I think I could beat any one of them in a fight.
Well, there's a little bit of a downside to you getting to know them now, is there? And he cuts to the slide with Warrick. If whatever happened to him is bad, would you point a knife towards him? Would you point me towards him?
If it was necessary. I've executed my men before. I understand.
I get the feeling that Khan would have had a different answer. But
that really makes her like grimace and probably bite her lip a little bit.
So I overstepped. I'm just reminiscing, you know. I can't help it. He was such a unique person. But anyways, next, Ravenna comes up on screen. I am not accepting any room for debate on this one. And this is the main reason why I need to tell you this. You cannot tell anyone, not them, especially not anyone else in Barovia, but especially them as well, you can't tell me that I'm here. Tell them I'm here. You can never let them in here. Callan, you understand that, right?
Of course. This is my personal space. They respect that.
I need you to understand the dangers of what is on the line here for me. And you see him like grow cosmically big, and you are no longer just standing on that ground in the void. You are now atop his hand as he holds you up to his face. I am your magic. If anything comes in here, and anything hurts me, takes me away from you, stops me from completing our mission, then it is game over, you understand? No citadel, no reinforcements, and no plane for the Master Jin.
Of course. I've lived for this sake for nearly 30 years, of course.
Good. We should keep that year count going then. And everything shrinks back down, you're back next to the steps leading back into your own little space. He dusts himself off and looks at you. Callan, I do appreciate being able to properly be myself with you. It's not often I get to be like this with my, out of character DM. It was Weaveseers, right?
Weaveseer.
Yes. I'm, even amongst the other Weaveseers, I rarely let myself, be open like this. I truly do appreciate the chance getting to talk to you, Callan.
It is an honor to talk to you as well.
Now, is there anything else I can assist you with?
You can't reach the Citadel?
Not unless something were to shift very much in this plane. Some grand change. Maybe not killing Strahd. If we're lucky, maybe there's an alternative. But for now, it seems there's only that option.
Understood. There's a thought permeating her mind right now. At this rare chance to essentially meet her maker. And as the intrusive thoughts have been kind of swirling this evening, she can't help but ask, why do you keep me around? Wouldn't I be more useful if I and Takan were recycled?
Looks back at you. His eyes widen at that question. Approaches you, and I'm assuming you're like sitting on the stairs leading back into your quarters, but he'll kneel to face you. My child, why does any parent do anything for their child? His hand, like, draping apart your watery bangs. I don't keep you around. I need you to be around. His thumb now rubbing across your cheek under your eye as if to catch tears. Don't ever forget that.
She'll just kind of silently nod a bit. Okay. Okay.
He'll help you up to your feet. Is it time for you to leave now, Callan?
I think I'm going to stay for just a few hours.
Would you like company? I mean, I'm your magic, I'll always be around, but would you like, and he points to himself, me around?
I think I want to be alone. That is, after all, why I came here.
Very well, Callan. Just don't forget. And he bows and faces forward. Your wish is my command. And he bamps out. And you are left there, your room to your back, with you facing the void of your pocket plane, staring off into the distance.
I think she goes to her desk quickly and writes a letter to Hakan. I'm not going to say what. That's what she does.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell us which letter. It could be any of them. Okay. And with that, I think we'll close the chapter on Callan's scene there, okay? Alright. Moving on over. I believe a certain somebody slammed a door really fucking loudly in my house.
Yeah, who did that?
Yeah. What's Jericho up to right now?
Oh, Jericho is going to take a few moments, pace the room, stewing, thinking, contemplating everything that happened tonight, everything that went wrong. Not just tonight, now that he thinks about it, but just ever since he's arrived in this god-forsaken place. And he's going to honestly just fall to his knees, and he is going to pray. But before he does so, there's a whole ritual about it. Just taking out a knife, cutting his thumb, smearing the blood across his forehead, his lips, his chest, prostrating himself, like completely forehead to the ground, prostrating himself. And he's gonna pray. It's out loud. He doesn't do it silently. And just inhales, tries to calm himself. Just the holy and reverent Manasars, I beg your guidance. I know that I am not worthy. I know that I've strayed, but please, I am begging for a sign that this vessel can still serve your will. Feel weaker than I have these last 5 years. I have returned to your Latin. I have fought. I have bled. I have slaughtered. I have abstained. Please, tell me that I have not been abandoned. Tell me that I'm not lost.
As your blood drips to the floor, as your penance begins, there is no light shining upon you, Jericho. No warmth. His grace cannot reach you here. You have been abandoned to this hell without your man of sorrows.
Please. This place. It is devouring my soul. Can't feel you. I beg you, let me endure the suffering of this godforsaken place. Let the others' suffering be my own. Let their wounds be mine. If there's no hope for me, let me protect them so that they may live. May my foes bleed and wither. May their deaths protect the little good that is left in this hell. May the blood that they stole return to the earth and renew life and hope. I am ever your servant. Your will is my hands. And he will stay there, prostrated, waiting for a sign. Anything.
There's nothing, Jericho. Nothing except your body screaming to sleep, to rest in some way, shape, or form. Nothing but your body craving for the sustenance you've been denying it. Nothing but your agony alone in this dark, dark pit.
I think after a few moments of silence and not quite an admission, for the Man of Sorrows works in mysterious ways, I think he will try to stand, but as he does so, that pit in his stomach, that ache, that hurt, just reaches its boiling point, and he is back on his knees and retches. Everything that he has consumed, even though it wasn't much, is purged from him. And with a sigh, he wipes the cold sweat from his brow and feels a profound hopelessness. So he will stagger to his feet and return to that main room. Because after all, what kind of servant of the good of humanity would he be if something crept into their suite while they were trying to rest? So he will return to the main room and slump in a chair and try to stay awake and keep watch.
I will say, before you leave that room, that pit you felt, that the purge your body did, left an awful feeling within you. It starts off feverish, you start sweating, and then you feel almost as if a rash were to break out across your scars. Your scars inflicted by yourself or by others, regardless, they itch and burn. Most notably, right along your chest. You pick at it and scratch at it. I imagine that's okay, yeah. While covered in vomit. You start trying to dig in with your nails, but nothing seems to alleviate it. You notice various creams and salves in the room, and you begrudgingly start using it, but nothing works, and you wipe it off. You stand there kneeling in your vomit, suffering, trying to scratch away this pain. You look around, looking for various tools or implements. You even settle for the handle of a chair. And then it occurs to you that you might need something a little sharper. And obviously your weapons, your stakes, not so good near your chest, but one thing that your eye keeps coming back to is the broken sword that you took from Sergei's tomb. Its end is broken and blunt, and the cold steel could be a good reprieve from the rash.
I think for a moment he considers it, but there is a reason Jericho his skin is so decorated. So he wouldn't resort to that kind of pain again.
I'd imagine you'd like pick it up to move it out of sight, right? Like something that you wouldn't think about it. Put in your sack, possibly.
Yes, I think for now, out of sight, out of mind.
You grab the blade and pick it up by its handle. You move over to your sack, and as you open up and slip the blade in, you feel a slight ting along the same cut you just made with your thumb at the start of your penance. And you look at it as it's bleeding again, which is not super surprising. Because you just cut it, a bit more blood isn't that scary, so you go to wipe it. As you wipe it off with some of the, Strahd's cloth, not your own, because fuck it, it's his shit. The blood doesn't go away. And then you wipe it again, and more blood takes its place. Each time you try to blot it out, it grows. It pools out more and more blood as it's beginning to fill the room. You absentmindedly are still trying to swipe up this blood. At this point, it's pouring buckets of blood out of your thumb until you are soaked in it, until you drown in it, until you fall deep into its abyss. And everything goes black for but a moment. You wake up. You look around and you are in a very lovely manner. You are really fucking small. Your head comes up to about the handle of an armchair. In your hands are 2 practice swords, and before you can even take in the imagery, you run down that hallway and find another boy, someone of similar height to you, sitting at a desk and reading. You prod him with one of the toy swords, poking him in his back. Words are coming out, but they're garbled to you. It doesn't make any sense. Until finally the boy chucks the book at your face and you feel pain. You feel a stinging sensation across your forehead. As the child turns to face you from the chair, you see his long, sleeked back hair as he hops down from the chair and picks up one of the swords you dropped and then points it at your neck and looks at you. And instead of anger or frustration, you smile and laugh as you swing your sword back against his, and the two of you dance and play with your swords until your vision turns back to red and the vision melts from your eyes. You open them back up and you're in that sea of blood. And you see a silhouette of a figure floating above you. It's reaching its hand out to you, the light shining behind it, as if trying to pull you back up out of this ocean you've made. Do you take its hand?
I know you said the light is shining behind the figure, so I'm assuming that means it's silhouetted. I can't make out a face, but what sort of physique does this individual have?
Remember how you used to look in your younger days as like an actual threat of a vampire slayer? You were more built. You didn't have like the gut. You could tell this is like more of an athletic, masculine fit. You can actually see in the silhouette things like a bandolier of stakes, a sword around his back.
Yes,
Sorry, it's,
I think he would reach for it with every ounce of strength and hope that he can muster.
As soon as your arms cross, as you grab hand to hand, his hand along your arm, and your hand along his arm, you feel the same weight that's been pulling you down into this abyss. The same hopelessness of ever crawling out of it. The same eternal damnation that you both deserve. And as at that moment you wake up, splayed down on the floor, the mess of blood and vomit across it. Your thumb is no longer bleeding. And the sword, the broken sword you were going to put away, is entirely missing. You look through the sack and it's not there. But as you get up to survey the room, you feel cold steel right at the front of your waist. And you look down to notice that your belt buckle has changed into the steel cover of a skull with 2 roses at either of its sides.
I think one way or another, this is a sign that he is meant to keep fighting. He has not met his end just yet. So, before he returns to the main room like I said he would, he is going to wash himself, get cleaned up, and return to that main room and fall into the closest chair.
Do you make an effort
the exhaustion is catching up to him.
Do you make an effort to clean up the mess back in the room?
Honestly,
No, we got Piddlewicks. You don't understand.
He might make a attempt, but he's exhausted.
Yeah, Piddlewick's gonna see.
I'm so sorry, Piddlewick.
It's okay. It is my job, hee-ho. Do not worry, hee-ho. But yeah. A few of the Piddlewicks that were attending Warrick motion over to your room to start cleaning it up, and one of them even asks you if you're okay. They're doing so in a manner like, I know Ravenya's still in the main space outside of Warwick's room, but I don't think anyone's looked inside your room outside of the Piddlewicks. Yeah.
He'll just give him a little nod and awkwardly pat the closest Piddlewick on the head and slump in that chair and keep a watch for as as long as he is physically able to.
Yeah, you should be able to. All right. I think after that we could use some maybe a pair of characters to change things up. I don't know the full details if either of you would like to start it, but Cal and Ravenna.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start it. So Callan stays in the space probably for nearly the whole 6 hours. And as she does, or as the time starts to expire and she realizes that she needs to pop out, she takes a deep sigh, having calmed herself to a reasonable degree. She looks down at the letter that she wrote for Hakan and just kind of gives it a quick look over. And what the letter is essentially just like an apology to him, saying she's sorry that she let herself not be surrounded or not have a connection again. She kind of looks at it and just nods, sets it back down, and then proceeds to exit the room. As she does, as she basically just kind of wills it, and the whole visage of the inside of her hilt disappears, and she finds herself sitting back down on her bed. She looks over, and by this point, I assume Ravenna is asleep in her bed across the way.
Yeah, I'll say so. It's been 6 hours. So.
Yeah. I don't think she would be praying for 6 hours.
No, yeah, she does an old college try, but she's probably been asleep for a couple hours at this point.
Yeah. The good old college try. But Callan will kind of go over to the bed that Ravenna is sleeping in, and she's going to just kind of sit beside it for a moment. And just stare at her. And as she does so, just all of those intrusive thoughts that she was thinking and all the hesitations she had about Ravenna are just sprinting through her head. And there's a moment she thinks to herself, I've got to be sure. And so she's going to take a deep breath and proceed to get up onto the bed and essentially go to straddle Ravenna.
It's taking all of my energy to be fucking silent right now.
As she does, she is essentially, her heart is beating so fast as she does this.
Is this happening in the main room?
No,
this is in her bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like,
Jericho, just watch that go down.
Am I in the cuck chair?
Aaron's asleep right now. Someone has to be.
Yeah. But yeah. And so she sits there and she's kind of holding her hilt, thinking through the process of which she had thought about, of putting the hilt into Ravenna's mouth to gag her. And she's hesitating and she's kind of shifting
if it helps for Callan, since Ravenna doesn't breathe, and from the previous times you've seen her, when she sleeps, it's like she just deactivates.
Mhm.
And so she's basically just a still corpse laying there on the bed.
She's breathing pretty heavily herself. Goes holding the hilt in her hand, squeezes it extraordinarily tightly, and then just simply taps Ravenna on the shoulder twice.
Takes a little bit for the sensory input to register, and see that her eyes just kind of flick open ever so slightly as the purple glowing irises in the center of the otherwise dark gray black sclera begin to kind of light up into life as she kind of looks up at Callan through half-lidded eyes. Is everything all right?
Her normally extremely sharp features are definitely a little bit more soft and rounded, and she just looks Ravenna in the eye and realizes that she has hesitated too much, and just says, I need to be sure of some things. And I'm sorry.
Sure about what?
You drink magic.
Ravenna does a very long pause as her eyes are now. There is a very noticeable, they're still kind of half lidded, but there is definitely more light behind them as she is looking Callan up and down on top of her. What makes you conclude that?
I saw it. I saw it come off Warrick. I saw the weave move. And everything in my mind has been screaming at me. That it was nothing. But I'm not beating my intrusive thoughts tonight.
Is Callan still holding the hilt of her weapon?
Yes.
Ravenna definitely looks over at that and then looks back up at Callan and goes, you see the kind of muscles on her neck tighten a bit as she looks up and goes, and how does that make you feel?
If you're going to do this, only me. I don't know what effect it has, but I want to find out, and I don't want you to touch the others with it. I want you to only do it to me. My magic regenerates extraordinarily rapidly. only me.
Venya's presumably sleeping on her back with her arms kind of at her side. And as she looks up at you, she very slowly raises her arms and just rests one on your thigh and goes, Helen, I know that you have many concerns based on what we just experienced, and I don't want to do anything that would alarm you further. I'm aware of your magical capabilities, and it is truly impressive, as I've said since I first met you. I'm never trying to hurt anyone, most of all you. And I have stood alongside you. I've fought alongside you. And you have always been the person who I've trusted the most to stand by my side and protect me in this world from all the horrible things out there. And I just want you to know that I just want to put your mind at ease and give you some insights into what I can do, so you can see that everything I can do is simply a harmless byproduct of my existence and my arcane capabilities.
And Callan very much just you can probably feel just her general heart pounding. It is really fast. And she just kind of takes a moment and just realizes she's still gripping the hilt as vice grip, and just realizes that Ravenia is scared. And then just drops it. Fuck. Fuck. She just kind of wheels back. I can't keep fucking doing this. And she'll just kind of get off and just go to sit beside the bed with her hands just pressing into her temples as hard as she possibly can. I know. I know you've always tried to be the best person for all of us, for me, for everything. You have made me feel emotions I thought that I could not feel for so damn long. And yet this damn feeling that's been beaten into me time and time again to keep keep distance, screams. It screams. And I can't help but answer to this. And here I am, once again, causing a rift. Causing discomfort, causing sadness, causing everything I don't want to cause. And yet here I am.
Sorry, continue.
No, I just wanted to say you deserve better than me. As a commander, as everything. But I'm going to try and live up to the person you see in me. Whatever that may be, it sure as hell must be better than what I find myself to be right now.
Venya will slowly get out of the bed in light of the recent scenario where Callan was holding a weapon near her, and will just kind of walk over to Callan sitting next to the bed, and will just put her arms around Callan's like shoulder and the back of her head and just kind of hold her and say, "It's all right. I understand. This is a horrible place, but none of us will be able to survive here if we try to stay alone. If we don't rely on each other. And I know that we'll need our commander to lead us out of all of this. When this moment has passed, when this trial has been overcome, I know I'll need you. As I have always needed you since I've met you." And just kind of holds her there and kind of slowly, gently strokes the back of her hair as she holds her. And as she does so, she is kind of looking behind Callan, like just above her head, kind of like her eyes scanning back and forth as she's thinking. But
She
she'll
looks...
no, you.
Yeah. She looks up to Ravenna. And for probably the first time, granted it's only been 3 days, but for Callan it's been years. There's not just her own, being a water genasi, but she is crying. She looks to Ravenna and says, Khan always said that we are only as strong as our bonds together. And I'm sorry.
Venya will look down into her face and use her thumb to wipe away some of the tears and say, "He sounds like a very wise man," as she smiles at Callan.
This sort of opening of emotions for her is sort of sending her entire being into a little bit of a whack. And she just with their heads close, would lean in for a kiss.
Ravenna would full-heartedly and reciprocate.
Callan stumbles back, realizing kind of what she just did, and will just sort of stand up, say, that was unfair of me. In a moment of emotional turmoil, that was unfair of me.
Ravenna just kind of looks back at her and does a very kind of, sly smile and goes, I think it was something we both needed.
That really causes Callan to blush like way more. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you is what I should say. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm going to go out into the main hall now. Please get your sleep. I know you need it.
I will be waiting here, and hopefully next time that I wake up next to you, it is more cordial. She kind of just chuckles.
Sleep well, Ravenna. And she'll just go out into the hall. Just her mind, just an absolute fucking jumble. Unable to really think of anything.
As Khaled leaves the room, and Ravenna kind of lays into the bed, she will have a moment where the smile just kind of disappears into a grimace as her eyes narrow at the door. And she will summon her familiar amethyst, the stained glass butterfly, to sit next to her.
Ops, do you want to do the scene now? Sorry.
No, we don't have to. I'm just saying, like, Ravenna is definitely sleeping with somebody who can keep a tab on her now.
We can do your scene now. Actually, now since it's this feels like a good transition point for it.
Okay. As Ravenna lays there with Amethyst next to her, she is like, her eyes are very much like scrolling back and forth on the ceiling, and she kind of takes a step out of the bed and goes as far into the room away from the wall, into the main room as she can, and has Amethyst gracefully fly next to her. And she kind of fiddles with her fingers and kind of constantly scanning around and goes, "This shouldn't be like this. Why are they doing this to me? I know they're broken people, but I have done everything I can to support them and to help them. And they treat me with such mistrust. I can't believe that she was just moments away from... Gods only know what she was thinking. But she needs that to be able to sustain her, and it's who knows how long it will take until she needs such impulses again. And Jericho calling me a vampire. And I've told him I'm not a vampire, because I'm not. Why doesn't he understand? What else can I do to these people? The only one who cared was Warrick. He's simple and so loving in his own ways. But all I can hope is that the gods will see him return. I need that extra protection. I know that Warrick wouldn't do something that would be so rash as to hold weapons to me or hold me back and threaten me if ever I take action. I'm just trying to survive. It shouldn't be like this. These nights I should be with you. Why did you have to leave me alone? I'm not strong enough. I can't. I need to take measures to ensure that I can see her, that I can see you again. I'll do everything I can, but I can't trust them anymore. It's only a matter of time until Strahd or something else worms their way into their brains, and they lash out at the thing they understand least. I just need to figure out solutions, how to utilize this. I think I can keep telling them what they want to hear, and they've come from simple worlds where such things are alien to them, and that's what I need for them. And then I can't let Strahd, I can't let any of them get in the way of me seeing you again. I need to seek out power, more power, yes. As things that are non-traditional. I've already been able to do so much with the mana that they generate. I need more. Yes, I need more. And she takes out that bead of mana that she got from the sludge mage inside of the dungeon and holds it in her hand as she looks at it and kind of runs her fingers over it. There should be plenty others in this world who have similar sets. If I can just absorb some of what they can do, I'd be turning Strahd's own tools against him. I'd be creating something outside of their control that I can use to protect me if anything happens. And she looks at it, and she just kind of runs it over her fingers as she raises it to her mouth and goes, I will survive. I will see you again. And there is nothing that I'm going to let stop me. And she consumes the mote of arcane energy.
As you feel it, sorry, I was muted because like that was really good. But as you consume it, that same burning feeling you felt in your dreams when you felt the many hands around you shoved down similar, we'll call them grapes, down your throat. You feel the same burning as it goes down into your core, burning deep, deep, deep inside. And you open your eyes and you feel it. The aftertaste. The experience. This isn't some gift from many. Something to keep you sustained. Something to watch over you. This is something you took. And with it, you took everything. Every aspect of what this person was, you feel it. You feel the emotions, the happiness they had, the sadness they faced, the anger they felt, and the fear they hold as they go deep, deep within you. and you make their magic, their being, your own.
Venya's mana veins kind of flash with several new colors before it absorbs back into the rest of the purple glow. And she kind of, her eyes close and she kind of bites her lip for a moment before they kind of flicker back open, and she smiles as she feels the caustic entropic energy that she has just absorbed flow between her hands as she kind of practices what she's just learned from that person's existence.
Whatever chilling sense may have initially came with the idea of doing this is gone, as you have nothing but glee with a newfound spell. And you can share that or keep it to yourself for next time in combat. That's all you. But yes.
I'll save it.
Yeah, a little secret. Y'all keeping some secrets. Y'all should share them eventually, maybe. Ooh. But yeah. All right. You good then, Ravenna?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Now, I haven't forgotten about a certain somebody. All right, maybe everyone else did, but I haven't forgotten about him. I've had enough of this girl action. I need a real man.
You think we forgot about him when literally all of this was because of him?
All right, Warrick. Thankfully, whatever Zod did, after your soul is shunted out at the end of the spell, you do not return to that swirling pool of despair that you once saw before. Instead, you have a dream. Your eyes open and you immediately get the feeling of it being surreal. Like, you already know that none of what you see is accurate. You're in a very broad and wide field. You just see sapling after sapling of various crops, row after row. And you yourself are small. The saplings come to about your knee in height. You look at your hands and they're childlike, and in your left hand there, you're grabbing very tightly onto something. None of this feels real. Nothing of this feels familiar. This isn't your farm. This isn't your overalls you have on. This isn't the sun you're under. Your son from Taldore. In front of you, there's a small hole dug out, ripe for compost, next to a sapling. And you stand there staring into it, until you hear a pair of footsteps next to you, and you turn to see a much larger, more rotund but still built figure, his face illuminating as if he were the sun itself, wearing very familiar clothing and armor, and he kneels down to you, talking to you as an adult to a child, his hand on your shoulder. What's the matter there, Warrick?
Okay. Is this real?
My boy, of course this is real. We're out here taking care of my vegetables, remember? Like you said. You promised, remember? After we got back? What have you got there, son?
He's gonna look down idly at his hands. What is in his hand?
As you unfold your hand, you guys are familiar with compost, right? You know, it's usually a collection of, like, various things, of, like, dead things, or, like, dirty things, like feces or fecal matter to, you know, enhance soil and all that, something nitrogen cycle. Warrick, you look into your hands and you see compost, a mixture of various dead bugs and worms, and some eggshells that are around in it. If you try to peer deeper into it, you kind of can't, and if you like use your thumb to sort of like wrestle inside of it, it doesn't exactly have any give to dig through it. So you're not sure what's giving it that like sense of mass in the center, but you see compost in your hand. And a part of you, for some reason, really doesn't want to let go of it.
He'll just, instead of doing anything with it, just kind of curl his fingers back around it, kind of clench it in his hands.
Now, Warrick, you know better than that, boy. What's in your hand?
It's nothing. It's mine.
It's yours. Weren't you going to plant in that hole right there? In my fields?
Yeah. I want to hang on to this for just a little bit longer.
Now, son, we've talked about this. You know how important it is to let go. And you hear those words echo and echo throughout the fields, the wind breezing past each of the plants around you. Let go. And you see his hand wrap around your arm. Come on, son, we'll do it together.
Do I feel any urge to let go at this point? Or is it still...
He's holding your hand over, like, the little hole right now, but you no longer... like, you can choose to let go, is what I'm saying. You'd rather not, but you can choose to. Like, you're not, like, stuck with this compost in your hand. The stinky compost.
It turns to look at the figure in the eye and look down into the hole. Is there anything that he sees down there?
It's dark. It's scary. It needs to be plugged up. In the soil, the plants need the food. But that means putting that thing in your hand in that dark, scary hole.
Pause for a moment. Eyes going back from the hole to the figure, to his hand. He's clenching his hand more firmly now, almost so that his knuckles are turning a darker color. But slowly he'll loosen his grip enough so that at least a little bit of it will fall in to the hole.
The moment you let go of any give, you have any give in your hand, all of it just sort of slides out like this sludge right into that hole. And while you initially have that fear, the person behind next to you, the older man, his second arm goes around your shoulder and shakes you to his attention. That's my boy. Now come on, let's go get you some of that mutton you love. And he puts you onto his shoulders, and you feel secure for him when he's walking down the fields towards a farmhouse you see in the distance. You see an older woman rocking back and forth on the porch, looking at you and waving. But then there's nothing for you to grab on up here. There's no head. And as you try to find give, you slip backwards out of his grasp and you fall from his shoulders. And as he turns to face towards you, as that blinding light of his sun blinds your eyes, you fall, and fall until it goes black. And you open up your eyes again. You're in the pit, and soil is being patted over you. Surrounding you is compost, food scraps, eggshells, The once dead bugs and worms start wriggling with life as they dig through the soil, while you are trapped within it. Only your face looking up above as scoop of soil, scoop after scoop, comes into that hole to pat it down until all that light is gone, leaving you in the darkness. What would you like to do, Warrick?
The dirt is going into the hole. He's going to thrash around. His arms are trying to dig into the dirt, pushing it away, and he's screaming at this point. Like, no, stop! Please stop! Let me out!
You see that same sunny figure bend down. Now, Warrick, we talked about this. You gotta let go, and it echoes again and again as the layer of dirt after dirt continues to weigh in. At this point, you begin to see roots from plants nearby begin to zigzag towards you, penetrating into the other pieces of compost. You see a nearby dead leaf, like a nearby pile of vegetables start to like dry up as the roots entrap them. The same roots aiming towards you. They begin to slowly break towards you. You feel them brush up against your skin and wrap around your body, beginning to penetrate your skin. What are you going to do next?
I don't want to let go. I can't let go. And at this point, he's going to try to, even if it involves like tearing apart his own flesh, he's going to try to rip apart the vines using any bit of strength he can, using his teeth, just pulling and thrashing.
Your teeth, huh?
Yeah.
As you thrash in the soil, trying to push up against this insurmountable mass, you feel the area rumble as a centipede bursts through next to you and begins to chew along the roots that have broken into you. A tapeworm runs by, eating up the soil and compost around you. You see various small insect-like creatures each coming out, chewing up the food. And you hear one single word permeate your mind. Eat. It's vegetation, after all. Crops that you worked hard to grow. Crops that you deserve to reap. What do you do, Warrick?
I'm going to eat.
And with that you shall. Bite after bite. You chew up the roots. You dig with your hands, breaking through the soil. You burst out of the ground. The sky darkens. And even though you are free, you have gone into this mad frenzy. You start ripping up plant after plant from the ground, chewing it up, eating it like a mad beast. Your eyes look out in the distance as you see other creatures coming out of the dirt near you, chewing and devouring the crops you worked hard to grow, your reward. And you look out in the distance at a farmhouse, abandoned and ripe for devouring. As you take those first steps, you slip forward into the dirt, and you fall, and you fall, and you fall, until you feel yourself crashing back into something soft. Your eyes flitter open for a moment. There's no sensation of dirt piling on you, but you still feel weight as you look at your body, surrounded with these strange devices, a bag of liquid tied to your arm. You see various piddlewicks running in and out of the room, holding various sort of supplies. You see Aaron asleep at the foot of your bed. and you realize you're safe. You're back in Strahd's castle, away from that horrible, horrible dream. And you're tired. But you're up. The Piddlewicks notice this and start coming up to you, and one shakes Aaron awake. Oh, Warrick! Warrick, are you okay?
I think the moment he wakes up and feels that pressure off of his chest and takes that breath for the first time, he's almost gonna like gasp for air, almost as if he feels like he's suffocating, and tears are just pouring down his cheeks. He feels uncomfortable, he feels suffocated, so he's just gonna try to, any IVs or anything that's on him right now, he's just gonna try to rip it off, and he just lets out this blood-curdling wail.
I would say this has been about, like, well into the long rest. Like, Ravenna and Callan's thing happened in, like, 6 hours, so this would happen at the tail end of, like, the 7 to 8 hours. Jericho, you've been, like, staying awake but dozing in and out. I would assume Ravenna tried to go back to sleep, but, well, things happen. And Callan would not have gone back into her lamp, right?
No, she would not have.
You'd all have heard this, and Aaron will initially join the Piddlewicks to stop Warrick from tearing out his IV drip, so sort of wraps himself around Warwick's arm.
Yeah, I think hearing activity coming from that room, if he had been, starting to doze off, Jericho is jolted awake and immediately books it into that room.
Yeah, Ravenna will come
Yup.
charging out with Amethyst on her shoulder.
Mm.
Warrick, is it really you?
Here's Jericho. He's gonna kind of go still at the moment. The tears are still streaming endlessly down his cheeks, and he's visibly shaking. The one hand that Aaron is not cling to is on his chest, almost as if he's clawing at something. But despite how panicked and shaking he looks to see everyone come into the room, he musters up this biggest, toothiest grin that he can possibly muster up at the moment. Like, everyone's okay.
Of course. You're the one we were worried about.
Thank the gods that you are awake again. She puts her hand on his arm.
What happened? The elves were there, and then I don't remember what happened after that.
You died.
What?
You died, Warrick.
Not again. He just kind of buries his hand in his face.
Again? This a common occurrence for you?
try not to make it a common occurrence. It has happened before. A long time ago.
Well. I imagine we'll have a lot to talk about once you're rested. But while I'm not happy about our circumstances, I am relieved to find you still with us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good to be back.
Well, you take your time. I will make sure you have plenty of clean drinking water. We all looks around at the entire party, sees everybody with massive bags under their eyes. We all need to take care of ourselves.
Say that, but he's already trying to stand up.
No.
No, no.
Yeah,
no.
Aaron's definitely like holding you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can lift him like a paperweight, though.
Yeah, he's trying.
But we're putting in a team effort and spirit. That should be enough to overpower your spirit.
The fucking meme of like the managers looking at the one guy working.
It's all right, Warrick. We're here, we're safe, and we're together. Just focus on feeling a bit better, and then we can get you something to eat.
Good, because I feel really hungry right now.
Yeah, you could definitely feel like you'd be eating for two, you know?
Oh!
Oh,
Gotta
it was
feed
just
the
a comparison.
brainworms. Gotta feed the brainworms.
Like a pregnant lady, it's the comparison, you know?
Fucking Warwick over here with his actual tapeworm.
Yeah, at that point, the Piddlewicks will bring in food, and thankfully there is no daylight in Barova. You guys could rest a little bit longer without feeling guilty. They can bring you actual human food and water they've boiled and stuff, so you can feel safer about drinking it if you request it.
Callan makes the water.
Okay, I got it. Good.
She can just do that as a water.
She can just
genasi.
make water.
All right,
Yeah,
real
she-
talk. This goes back to the Pokemon question of would you drink a water-type Pokemon's water? Would you drink Callan water?
I could make some of the Callan water into ice cubes to cool it.
She can make 30 gallons of water.
Damn, she is wet as hell.
God, yeah, I was gonna make a joke about a puddle
3
on
times a
Ryan's
day.
bed.
So 90 gallons.
Well, 3 times a day currently. We'll see
three-
once Ravenna gets done with her.
Hey,
Fucking
yo.
God.
3 times per hour, because
What?
Wait, per hour?
the warlock spell slots, baby.
Oh my God, this bitch
God.
drenched.
Oh man.
Think
We're
of
gonna-
all the holy water we can
Oh
make.
yeah. You're gonna be blessing that gamer girl bathwater.
Damn, that's wild. Anyways, Jericho, how's that God you've been reaching out to doing?
Yo!
Thankfully, we'll have Warwick bless it with potatoes. So
Yeah, you guys can definitely have a nice hearty meal. And Warwick, you note that heavy feeling you had, you know, because you were basically in the equivalent of a hospital bed, is lightening up extremely fast. Like, you feel even more fit than you were, like, back in Tal'Dorei. And you have that, like, sense of awareness where you can, like, you know, sometimes when you guys can feel, it feels like you can feel every nerve ending in your body, every muscle move. It's that kind of feeling. You're extremely aware of how your body's doing. Yeah.
I think if possible, as Warrick is eating and recovering, if there's a moment that Jericho can speak to him alone, I think he would take it.
I assume that would happen. Ravenna and Callan both need to get ready for the day, as hopefully do you, Mr.
If we
Slut
do
and
eat at
Vomit.
some point together, I will make a very direct effort to eat something in front of Jericho as I give him side eye.
Not a vampire.
Not a vampire.
Duly
And eat.
noted. Duly noted.
Yeah, but you cool with that? Work and Jericho little talkie?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So, once the others have vacated to get themselves ready, I think Jericho would just pull up a chair next to Warwick's bed, and he's very quiet for a moment, but you can tell there's a pained, thoughtful expression on his face until he just gives a little sigh and he says, I'm sorry, Warwick.
Mm-hmm.
This
Oh, no, go ahead.
this was all my fault.
Warwick, through his last bit of meat that he swallows down, kind of looks at Jericho with his head tilted a bit, eyebrows raised. Hold on, what are you talking about? None of this is your fault.
I know you don't remember everything that happened after the intruders but I killed you. When Strahd was threatening you, threatening the others, I tried to help. In the only way that I knew how. And I was the instrument that dealt your death. And he looks down to his bloodied boots.
When Jericho first says his first line, I think Warwick would almost tense, his shoulders stiff, and there's a glint of something that kind of passes over his eyes. Almost panic, if not a bit of anger. But the more that Jericho continues to explain, the more his shoulders begin to relax and his face softens. He'll kind of lean forward and put a hand on Jericho's shoulder, giving it a big sweet squeeze. Jericho, no. You said that Strahd was the one that did it. This isn't your fault. You can't blame yourself for this.
Warrick, I offered to die so everyone else could live. And he took that weakness and threw it in my face. And used me to kill you. I don't know what manner of magic or devilry has brought you back to this nightmare of a place with us. But seeing you returned and having had some time to think after we thought you gone, I've realized that if I'm gonna die, it's not gonna be to that son of a bitch.
Well, good. I'm glad you come to that. I mean, I could tell you firsthand that dying isn't so great. Oh. I don't want you to blame yourself, though. That just means we gotta, as you said, kill this son of a bitch together.
I'm still sorry. Nonetheless.
Kind of at this point, his eyes already wet from the tears and his cheeks already is such a darker color. If half orcs could blush. He'll take his other arm, put it on his shoulder, and just pull him in for a really big hug. Well, if you want me to say you're forgiven, I'll go ahead and say it. I forgive you, Jericho.
Jericho's very taken aback by the sudden physical proximity. But I think hearing Warrick forgive him, he leans into the hug and wraps an arm around his back as well, and just gives him a very firm squeeze. I don't understand a lot of things. I'm learning that there's a lot that I don't know. But regardless, I'm not about to put you dying to the test again. You hear me?
Well, not knowing a lot of things will kind of make it the two of us. But I get what you mean. We won't let this happen again. Not to you, not to me, or anyone else.
Good. Now, I'm going to attempt to get some shut-eye for a bit.
No, you should. I mean, you look tired. more than you usually do.
Oh, really?
Just a little observation.
Thank you, Warrick.
Thank you. I mean, I'm sorry I had to put you through that, but it's gonna get better from here. I promise.
I hope you're right. He'll give a quirk of a smile, a nod of his head, and leave Warrick in his room.
Okay. I will say, after the little breakfast, you guys can afford a few more hours of rest. Probably not another full 8 hours, as this constitutes as a long rest. Oh wait, sorry. What?
So I'm sure that we got like a collective 2 hours each across all of the struggles.
I would say that's a long rest. Like, your lamp like definitely counts as that period of time for you. Jericho is used to having to be awake for 6 hours and then maybe snoozing for like 45 minutes. Like, that's fine.
True.
Warrick had a bunch of Piddlewicks and Aaron watching over him. That's gotta be a comfy sleep. Ravenna actually slept like a regular human being for 6 hours. Like, that's fine. You guys have a long rest, a few more minutes, like a half an hour to an hour more sleep to recover. As a Piddlewick walks up to your door and informs you that a carriage is waiting to take you to Vallaki. And one more thing. I know it's getting late, guys, but could we go on for another 15-20 minutes so I can set up Vallaki because it's real and I want to please.
Fine. This
I don't know.
so-called
It's real. I swear to all of you, it's real. I swear to God, when you guys actually get to the Vallaki map next session, you all better spam the One Piece is real meme. I swear to God. As you all are escorted outside, you actually make no contact with anybody inside the castle, outside of a few servants, like the collared ones with the neck bites on their neck, and like a few other people. You see other guests of Strahd, vampires and nobles, that one weird werewolf and other undead making their way out. And you make your way out to that side door that you guys wandered in when you first came that night that felt so long ago. You see a carriage drawn, and a little further away you see Rodden, who has noted you all and has begun walking forward towards you. A little further past the carriage, since he's been pacing back and forth waiting. At this point, several Piddlewicks run out and crowd along him to sort of like talk to him and maybe even distract him as another Piddlewick tugs on the back of Jericho's coat from the door. We felt bad, hee-ho, so we did something, hee-ho, and they look very nervous as one Piddlewick finally runs down with a suspiciously book-shaped lump in its throat.
What?
Help. And the Piddlewicks are all, like, freaking out and struggling. One's grabbed, like, a rope from, like, the mouth of the lumped Piddlewick and is, like, just pulling, like, go, hee-ho, we don't have much time, hee-ho! And, like, Rahadin's, like, just, like, very slowly making his way over with the other Piddlewicks, like, tugging on him, trying to get his attention. Finally, the Piddlewick, the lump, spits out a book. A very ornate book. Now covered in, like, a mixture of spit and gastric juices. On the front is a language that I know Ravenna would immediately pick up this, probably Warrick, even though he can't read, he can probably remember curves. Not Jericho, and I think Callan would pick up this is Elvish script, but it looks different. It looks like the base is Elvish. Yeah. And yeah, the Piddlewick that one of the Piddlewicks picks up the book and holds it out to you all. We, hee-ho, stole this from Strahd's room, hee-ho. It looked very important, hee-ho.
Fenya's eyes kind of light up at that, That is quite a brave thing to do, little Piddlewicks.
Jericho will snatch it and tuck it into his coat.
Keep it hidden, hee-ho. Strahd hadn't noticed yet, hee-ho, hopefully, hee-ho.
Good work, O valiant ones.
And thank you, hee-ho. Piddlewick 42, hee-ho. We'll be okay, hee-ho, but what you did all last night means a lot to us, hee-ho. You will forever be a friend of the Piddlewicks, hee-ho. We will tell Piddlewick the second to the first, hee-ho. And, you guys got nothing more to say to them, they'll, start totally naturally making their way back into the castle.
Goodbye, hee ho.
Yeah, sorry,
Goodbye,
no Piddlewick
hee-ho.
companion yet.
Womp womp.
I'm glad to see Piddlewicks have made it to the not kill list in Barovian NPCs.
Oh yeah, they're above Dusk Elves and Aaron.
No! You all made a promise! Alright, the Piddlewicks are on Rodden, realizing the plan is accomplished, break away as Rodden approaches you all really confused. Right. Well, apologies. I, don't know what that was about, but, yes, I take it you are all ready to head to Vallaki, yes? The final stretch of your journey with young Aaron? Aaron, just nods while standing behind Jericho.
Thrilled to put this place behind us.
You know, if you intend on killing my master, you will more than likely be doing it here. Speaking of, and then he pulls out from his coat several contracts, all very much the same ones Strahd offered you when you first arrived to Barovia. He told me to inform you all that this is it. From here on out, if you haven't signed it and you meet your end in Barovia, well, I'll hope that out of the many fates that reach you, Zod is not one of them. And hopefully I won't be either. He smirks.
Ravenia will take one and look it over just to confirm it's the same.
Mm-hmm. I think I remember there being a change to it, but I forgot to write it down. So sorry. If I make a change to it, I'll pause it to you all, and then I'll ask for your approval, whether or not it's okay.
Okay. Then I will hold off signing it until you tell me.
For now, if there's ever a change made to it, we can talk about it.
Okay.
But for now, it outright states that as long as you choose to come back, as long as you have that fighting will, Strahd will endeavor to make sure that your end is not reached until you feel you are ready to fight Strahd. The moment you decide to harm him in any way, shape, or form, in a way that he cannot defend himself from, this contract is up. It is all fair game. As a caveat as well, Strahd is free. Strahd does not need to ask your permission to enter any building you are in. There are some side notes here saying that personally Strahd will respect some level of privacy, but, for those sickos out there. But,
yeah.
Or in the bathroom.
Yeah, or when you're sleeping at night.
Kissing on the side of a bed.
Yeah. Straddling one another with a sword at someone's
Get in the
throat.
cuck chair, Strahd.
He just has to endure the.
You can
if
watch.
He wants to do that. He can endure the cuck.
That would be a good flex, at least we get laid.
But yes, that is the contract in its most standard form.
Ravenia will look at everyone and be like, having seen what happened to Warrick, I, for one, agree with Callan at this point that I do not want my endeavors to end to the arbitrary whims of people like him. And she kind of side eyes, whatever his name is, Rashidon or
Rodden,
Rodden, and she goes, "For what little it may mean, it's at least something," and she'll sign it.
That's one. Who's next?
Everything that happened in the castle only confirmed my thoughts. I'm signing as well.
Warrick kind of frowns a little bit. Like, I know we were so against it before. I'm sorry. I feel like I forced you all to make this decision. But if everyone else is doing it, I kind of don't want to die again. Wow.
Ravenna will put her hand on Warwick's arm again and look up at him and go, "You didn't force us to make this decision. Losing you, for however brief it was, showed us that if there's one thing we can avoid, it would be getting separated from each other any way possible."
And he kind of looks a little bit towards Callan, because we're friends.
That's right. We're friends.
He'll go over and snatch a contract out of Rodden's hand before signing it.
Thank you, bestie. Finally. Oh, sorry.
I would say, if I may, I want Callan to ask for a hug from Warwick since she hasn't gotten one yet.
Oh,
Does she do the thing where she like opens her hands a little bit? Opens her
Yeah, she does.
I imagine it's like the PogChamp thing where it's like the Tsundere kind of looking to the side as she opens her arms.
Yeah.
Looks, and the realization kind of like hits his face that you can see from like surprise to like really, really excited. And he'll go in almost like not football tackle, but like kind of scoop her up from the waist and like lift her up in the air like a really big hug.
Oh, God. I didn't expect this to be like that, but thank you.
If you're gonna go for a hug, you gotta make it count, right?
Yes, of course. And she realizes that she's not hugging him back at all. She's kind of just like arms to the side, like struggling, fighting for her life in the arms of the bear hug.
Oh no.
Okay, thank you. And she'll just kind of like give him a soft, like, double pat on the shoulders. Thank you.
He'll take that as indication and settle her down again on the floor. But we'll take a bit, like, it takes him a couple seconds to, like, truly let go. He's, like, put her on the ground, but, like, still kind of, like, hugging her before, like, slowly releasing. He's smiling.
I'm glad you're back.
Glad to be back.
I want to throw up.
Hey, I can give you a hug too if you want. You probably had one of those, like, ever.
If you touch me with your arms, you're not getting them back. And trust me, Zod would be greatly upset if that were the case. And Rodden points, and I don't think anyone else except you at this point with Warwick would know this since you've seen the shape of Zod's soul, but you see him glaring through the woods. And you see a small smile show up on his face as he turns around and stealthily disappears into the shadows. Now, we are left with one more, right?
Jericho will take the last contract, sign it with remarkably nice penmanship, and hand it back over and just say, "This is a promise that before we come for Strahd, I'm gonna kill every single one of you blood-sucking motherfuckers in that castle."
I mean, not all of us suck blood, young Jericho. Some of us are more beast-like Zod. Some simply don't need much to sustain themselves like the Piddlewick, and as for myself, he twirls his cane, I'm in it for more motivational reasons. And you see the sun, you see the moonlight glare off of his medallion, the same one that the Piddlewicks and the Dusk Elves both had. Regardless, I do look forward to you trying, and Zod would as well, were he here. Now, I take it you all have a carriage to be catching? I would gladly join you all, but I feel as though my presence would lead to a uncomfortable ride. Instead, you will be watched over from the shadows by and he steps over for a second, and from the shadows springing out, made of shadow itself, is one of the Shadow Vistani, who is much more decorated than the guards you saw throughout the castle. This is Aragol, and then Aragol speaks up and just says, I hate you all. He's passionate for his work, and as such will make sure you make it to Vallaki safely. And Aragol just disappears back into the shadow under the carriage. Yes, I felt you deserve some privacy in your ride.
How considerate.
Well, Zod is an emotional creature. Strahd, on the other hand, and he looks up towards the castle, and even in this dark night sky, you can see the silhouette of his hair brushing past his singular eye, glaring down at you all in a strange fit of excitement and anger. Yes, well, you all best be going before he decides to say his farewells directly. Any last bits before you all get in the carriage?
Ravenna will look up at the distant castle of Strahd looking down at them, and she'll just have a very predatory smile as she looks at him before getting in the cart.
I know something you don't know. Alright, anyone else?
I think if I'm gonna be real fucking petty, I think if Strahd is watching, giving that same thoughtful gesture that Strahd gave us in farewell, and open up his coat just a little bit to show that new sword at his hip before
Wait.
hopping into the carriage.
The sword is gone, Jericho. You just have a fancy belt buckle now. But you can't show that off instead, and he will still react.
Look at my dick.
Look at my crotch.
Look at it.
He looks on, and this anger quickly turns into something more primal. You feel his pure hatred aimed right at you, Jericho. You were going to have an exciting time when that contract runs out, buddy. Alright.
Let's go.
If that's all the assassin you guys want to do. Right? All assassin you guys want to do?
Yeah.
Yes.
Incomplete, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
As
SAS complete.
I'll assume one of you is like the last one to get in the carriage. Rodden stops the door before you close it and says, "One last piece of advice, as I myself am invested in your continued success. You will find many allies in Barovia. It's not odd. It's very clear that Strahd is well hated by many people here. But not all of them will have your best interests at heart." At the door and step back to let one of you have the last word, if you'd like. It's there.
Quick, someone say something.
Until we meet again.
Yeah,
There
cool,
we
that's
go.
right.
There we go.
Close the door, and you can all head off. Aaron in tow, Aragol underneath your carriage in the shadows. The two dark horses naturally in the front seem to know where to go, leading you down the same path you came in, through that same tunnel that you know is trapped with deadly creatures, out into the woods, and then into the plains and moors of Barovia itself. Nothing but the moonlight to show you the distant sights. The train tracks and the train running through its lands. A massive spire being constructed in the distance. The high peaking mountains, the dark clouds. All just a familiar, horrifying sight until one final hill. As you cross over it. Let me go ahead and take you guys back to the map. Where's the... I wish Roll20 made this better organized. Wait, where is it? The fuck? Okay.
Nani?
Alright, there we go. As you all travel from Castle Ravenloft, through a set of gates, further along the woods, you see another new thing of note. A windmill with a very ominous fog around it, a blood-red mist. You continue down. For a brief break through the woods, you see a beautiful lake. And as you make that one final hill, over that one final hill on the old Svalich Road, you guys can see it. A walled-off city with bright lights showing up, lit against its wooden and stone buildings. That is the site of Vallaki, the first major pit stop on your journey. And I think we will end it there.
Yay.
It exists.
It's real. It's real. I swear to you, it's
The
real.
Vallaki piece is real.
The One Piece is real.
I swear to you guys, it's real. Vallaki is real. I will have a little map made for it. You guys will get the Waffle House you asked for, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But yeah. How does it feel to finally be out of, like, what I consider is, like, the prologue to this campaign?
God, that was just the prologue.
Pain.
We went through so much suffering. We just did the tutorial.
Vallaki is real. I can't wait for you guys to meet NPCs that will not ruin you all.
Which is great to meet them after we now all have trust issues.
And we can
Yep.
ruin them.
Hey,
Yay!
listen, the Piddlewicks are under trust. these people
Oh yeah,
can...
Piddlewicks forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Piddlewicks are.
Well, of course, the Piddlewicks go without saying, don't they?
Hee ho, I say. Hee ho indeed.
Oh god. But yeah, before we end for the night, a few things to go over. Nexus, go check out on Obsidian's channel in the description. The Origin sessions are recorded. They're great. Check them out. Lily, Maris, and I are all characters in there, as well as our friend Beatrix. It's great. It's gay. It's anti-capitalist. It's amazing. Go check it out. Lily, she draws really good art and is very queer. And if you're watching this, those probably check boxes off for you, so go look at that. She's getting really good really fast, and that's always fun to see. Yulia, birthday month. Whatever month of the year it is, go to her channel, donate some cash, go to her throne, give her a gift. Go to her streams, they're really fucking entertaining. I love actually listening in on her Skyrim and Dawn Trail playthroughs. Maris, big man, his VODs are great to sleep to, so please go. Please go sit on his lap as he reads you a nice little story.
Hey, yo.
Yo.
And hey, none of that. I don't want to hear that from fucking straddle watcher enjoyers. Anyways, and me, I exist. Support me or don't. It's cool. Just leave a comment. I like positivity. But yeah, that's it. Anything you guys want to say?
We did it, gang.
We did it. We have Warrick, the most important thing.
Oh, thank God.
We did it, queers.
I've been
Yeah.
stressing for a week.
Forget the sun sword. We have the one thing that matters.
The sunshine
The
boy.
The real son of our party.
Yeah.
Yay!
I-
Good thing it wasn't 2 weeks.
Oh,
It
Now I
could've
have this
been.
mental image of Warwick doing the fucking that like Miku beam or whatever, and it's just Strahd as Kaiba evaporating.
Oh, the fucking flashlight meme where it's like Strahd's like, "Give me your money," and it's like,
with the power of friendship.
Yes.
oh god. Anyways, I think that's a good place to end it for the night. So, bye.
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 Bye.